What will he find out there, Doctor?
His destiny. This whole thing is insane! Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
Is it working? Is it working at all? No? No? You can't hear what I'm trying to talk to you telepathically like the dudes in this movie. I guess it doesn't work. Yeah, there's telepaths in this movie. Oh, wow. This may be the quickest jumping of the shark ever. This is just absolutely crazy movie. And I'm talking about Beneath the Planet of the Apes from 1970. Whew. It's a quick one. It's an hour and 35 minutes, so it gets done. Pow, 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 like lots of beats done, it's over. But good Lord. Whew. Man, this was a crazy one. Like we go from apes running a city to telepaths and it's like walls of fire and bleeding statues and atomic bombs and mutants, like radioactive underground mutants. Like there were no humans that could speak in the first one, and now there's humans that can speak telepathically. Okay, anyway, this is directed by Ted Post. He directed one of my favorite Clint Eastwood westerns, Hang 'em High, and he directed the second Dirty Harry movie, Magnum Force. Apparently he had like a falling out with Clint Eastwood and said he would never direct a Clint Eastwood movie again, and then he had a falling out with the producers of this movie and said, I will never direct another Planet of the Apes again, and he didn't. So, okay, cool, whatever. He also directed some Twilight Zone stuff, so, once again, the connection to Twilight. Woo! The screenplay is written by Paul Dean, and he has a little link to my other show. He wrote Goldfinger. He actually wrote Goldfinger, my top favorite Bond movie. He also wrote Murder on the Orient Express, and every single one of these Apes movies, or the classic five, starting with this one, all the way to Battle of the Planet of the Apes. He wrote all of them, which is very, very cool. Our cast here is Brent, played by James Franciscus. He was hired because he looks like Charlton Heston, and they thought it would be a cool thing to have him show up. We have the return of Nova, Linda Harrison again. She does speak in this one word. She says Taylor in a really odd way. We have Kim Hunter returning as Zira, which, of course, because you have to have Zira, because Zira's awesome. We have Cornelius returning, but it's not Roddy McDowall, it's David Watson. Roddy McDowall was a little busy doing another movie, so he could not partake in this, and this is literally the only one of the original five that he is not in. He is in every single one from here on out. He does not play Cornelius in all of them, but he is in them all. We have the return of Taylor, played by Charlton Heston. Now, as a rule, Charlton Heston does not do sequels. He refuses to do sequels. He hates them. But they got him to come back for this. How? Well, he got paid a little more money. They had to shoot all of his scenes in 2 weeks. They had to make sure he dies in the movie, which he does, spoiler. And he cannot be in the whole movie the whole time. Oh, and all of his money goes to charity. All of his salary goes to charity. So they got him to come back. Now, those are all our protagonists. Mainly Brent and Nova. Brent and Nova are the only two that are really in this a whole lot. Zira and Cornelius are actually only in 2 scenes. Taylor is in pretty much the entire ending of the movie and a little bit of the beginning. But the main antagonists here are Ursus, played by James Gregory. He is your warlord gorilla. He's kind of taken the place of Zaius as the bad monkey. This is, speaking of, Zaius is in it. Maurice Evans is back as Zaius. And Zaius takes a little bit of a turn here. He's not exactly full-on bad guy. He just wants to keep the truth of the humans hidden. That's all there is. And he apparently did not punish Zira and Cornelius in this, because Zira and Cornelius still have their jobs and they're still a part of the ape community and stuff like that. They were apparently never tried for heresy. I don't know. They never really talk about it. And last is another antagonist who is human, and it is Mendez, played by Paul Richards. He is one of said telepaths. So here's a crazy thing here. Brent James was cast, but the original person they wanted was Burt Reynolds, and I think that may have made for an entirely different movie. Imagine if Nova was recast as Sally Field. Maybe Zira is recast as Jerry Reed, Cletus. And Cornelius, since he doesn't really talk much or do anything anyway, he's recast by Fred, the dog. And then why don't we just go ahead and recast Ursus as Jackie Gleason, that Buford T. Justice? We would have a completely different movie. And I think I would love to see this movie, because it would be amazing. We got like Jerry Reed coming in as Zira. All right, now, Brent, we're going to head on down to the Forbidden Zone. We're going to get this going on. Here we go. Yeah, boy. 10-4, good buddy, son of a bit pile of monkey nuts. I'm heading on down to the Forbidden Zone right now. Oh, come on. We just got to save Taylor, guys. No, I'm going to get that, Brent. He's such a bad guy. I'm going to stop him from getting to the Forbidden Zone. If Forbidden Zone down, load it up and trucking. Completely different movie, and I'm down for it. I'm down. Yeah, Smokey and the Bandit Apes style. Why not? But this has a really downer ending that I'll get to, but originally the ending was supposed to be a lot happier. We were supposed to have kind of like Brent and Nova and Taylor kind of win the day. And of course Taylor had to die because of what Charlton Heston wanted, but Brent and Nova were supposed to go on and kind of become friends with the apes and join their community, and the ending was supposed to be apes and humans together, like they were supposed to be like in unison, like a happy community. So that I don't know if I would have been down for that, but another problem with that though is they were supposed to have this monstrosity, which is a half human, half ape hybrid. So some human got down with an ape, and since Brent was the only human, well, so that was supposed to be a thing, but they found it too disturbing. Found it too disturbing for the audience, and they wanted to keep their G rating. There was another thing that they had to do to keep that G rating that I'll get to a little bit later. But this movie is so crazy. I watched it last night, and I'm like, and my fiance's sitting over here watching her show, doing her crying thing when she's watching. It's Outlander, by the way, is what she's watching. I found that out. But even she's like kind of glancing up every now and then, and she's like, what the hell is this movie? And I'm like, it's so bonkers. Oh man. Alright, so the movie starts off with like the great speech that I played at the end of the last episode, the Beware the Beast Man speech. It plays it in its entirety, and we're basically seeing the entire ending of the last film with little cuts here and there, and including the "Damn you all to hell," we see that, but they ride off. They kind of ride off into the desert afterwards, and that's when we get the new cast. We don't even see them fly in. We just see a wrecked spaceship, basically. And you see our new astronauts. There's 2 of them, and one of them's already dead. He's done. And he's like, oh, it's the year 3000 whatever. Yeah, I'm just gonna close my eyes and die if that's okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, my daughters are dead. Everyone I know is dead. So dead. And he like burying them in the gravel. So that's great. Yeah. So and then they're actually following Taylor. They're trying to find Taylor because he's disappeared. And they're like, we're here following Taylor, and it's like, what about the other 3? Are they expendable? Okay. And I'm thinking like ANSA, their little their space crew needs to stop sending people to space or train them better because they can't seem to keep the planes and the ships in the air. That could be because they we must have went through some kind of time warp, and that's actually a thing that is actually said. And even Linda Harrison once had an interview saying that James Franciscus, the guy who plays Brent, took this role way too seriously. She was like, he took this role way too seriously, and it's you can see it. It's pretty bad. Yeah, because he's clearly like trying to be this serious soldier, and it's like, did you read the script, man? There's like telepaths and projections of fire and just all around weird crap in this movie. So apparently he didn't even read the script. He was just like, oh, I'm an astronaut, I'm a soldier of fortune, I'm gonna go rescue Taylor. Read the script, people. But we shoot back after all this. He's gonna try to find. He actually finds Nova, and he's like, "Oh, where are you? Who are you? Where are your people?" And he finds she's wearing her action dog tags, and he's like, "Oh, Taylor, Taylor. Where is he?" And they try to go off, but she has a weird flashback of Taylor saying, "If you lose me, find Zira and Cornelius." Or actually, he doesn't even say Cornelius. He says, find Zira. Find Zira. It's like, okay, cool. And I'm not even kidding. That's exactly how that rolls out. The fist and everything. But we find what happened to him. They're traipsing through the desert, and this is where it gets a little crazy. We get a big firewall like this. It doesn't look like this. I couldn't actually find a picture of said firewall. But that picture happens later in the movie, and we'll get to that. But the firewall comes up, and then they're like, whoa, I guess we'll turn around away from the fire. And then there's lightning hitting. They're like, oh, hey, there's lightning. They're on a horse. And he's like, okay. And he's like, well, we'll go this way away from the lightning. And then earthquake happens, and it splits. They're like, oh, okay. And I know that Charlton Heston can't survive an earthquake. He died in the movie Earthquake. Come on, y'all. And he's he's just riding off, and then he stops. He's like, that wall wasn't here before. It's like a big rock wall. And he's like, maybe, he's like, go find Zira if you lose me. He gets off, and he's like, maybe if I hit this rock wall with the butt of my gun, something will happen. And he falls into the wall and just disappears. What? What is going on? Okay. You have Nova over there going, ah. It's so stupid. I'm starting, the more and more I talk about this movie, the more and more I love it. It's just so bad. Anyway, so we go back to Nova and Brent, where she takes him. She's going to take him to Zira. He doesn't know this, but she takes her to this town, and we hear this noise.
My God, It's a city of apes.
It's a city of apes. The way he delivers these lines, I'm like crying. This movie is so ripe for mystery science theater that it's perfect, man. This is so wonderful. Anyway, he goes in and he sees this like council of apes. Kind of looks like this. Little apes everywhere. They're actually segregated, which is really weird. And it's like the gorillas are over here, and they clearly represent war because they're beating their clubs and everything. You have the chimps who represent science, and they're just like kind of, And then you have the orangutans who represent law. And it's like, so they're all segregated. They don't have their certain things, and I think that's cool. And he gives this speech. The main gorilla, Ursus, we find out, gives this speech where he's talking about what matters is raw, naked power. And it's a war speech, and it's delivered poorly. And then he has a wonderful line of,
The only good human is a dead human.
yeah, the only good human is a dead human. Yes. And then we get one of the funniest things I mean, it's just the whole scene is great because we go to Cornelius and Zira's house, and and Brent and Nova are there, and they're like, Nova comes out, she's like, Nova, are you okay? Where's Taylor? And then they're like, Brent comes out, and Zira's like, Taylor? He's like, no. He's like, oh my god, you can speak too. But it's like, you racist? You think all humans look the same? They didn't say that, but it'd been great though. It's, how dare you? All humans look the same to you. But he's like in there, and he's been shot, so he has to. They're cleaning up his little wound, and Zaius pops in, and so they're like panicking. They like put Nova and Brent in the corner. They put Baby in the corner, and Cornelius is like, yeah, well, talking to him, and Zira comes out holding the bloody rag she was using to fix his wound up to her face, and he was like, oh my god. Zaius is like, oh, was there an accident? And this Zira being the most awesome person in this movie. Kim Hunter is amazing. I freaking love her. She delivers it so well. She's like, no, because early in the day in that little war speech, she refused to stand for the gorillas. He's like, I'm not standing for this. Kind of like kneeling for the Pledge of Allegiance. She wouldn't say anything. They're like, just stand up. But like, so she's holding the rag to her head, and then she's like, oh, Cornelius hit me for my bad behavior. And so she's like, yeah, Cornelius hit me, and Zaius is like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, for my bad behavior. And Zaius is like, oh yeah, you deserve that. He didn't say it, but he was like, oh yeah, okay. And like, they go on later to do more talking. It's not really important until he's like, Zaius is like, now I want cooperation from both of you. And Cornelius is like, oh, well, you'll get it, or I'll hit her again. Or I'll hit her again. And he's like, well, I don't want violence. Wow. So, oh man. And then they finally get out, and they're like, look, or Cornelius is like, look, if you get caught, you need to, like, you can't speak, all right? Because humans don't speak here, so be quiet if you get caught. And then he delivers this line. He tells them why shouldn't you speak? And he says, and I couldn't even find a video of the whole thing. I couldn't even find a soundbite of the whole thing. I only found a little bit of it, so I'll finish it for him. But he says,
They will dissect you, and they will kill you.
Yeah, they will dissect you. They will kill you. In that order. It's the way he delivers it. That is just like, they will dissect you. They will kill you. In that order. I feel like Roddy McDowall probably would have delivered that a little better. Oh, I'm getting a headache laughing so hard. This is ridiculous. But he gets captured. It's actually, they could have cut it from the movie because it really doesn't matter. He gets captured. Zero helps him escape. I mean, there's a moment when he escapes from the cage, and it's on a cage on a horse and carriage, and he gets out of the cage and he gets the gorilla. And at one point, he has him full on choking him with something, and he has hooks in. He has his two legs wrapped around his body, and that's a jujitsu thing. He has hooks in. He's done for, but somehow the gorilla gets out of it. But he wins, he's whatever, and they escape. And then they're traipsing through the Forbidden Zone. We find out what really the Forbidden Zone is. And it is this. It's New York. Like, we see all kinds of like pictures from New York. We see the ruins. We see collapsed libraries. He finds Queensboro Station. I mean, it's clearly like Queensboro Station is where it ends, and he finds a rotary phone, which is funny because it's supposed to be like the year 3000, but there's a rotary phone. But it's like he finds it, and he's halfway in, so he's doing better than Taylor did. I mean, he found out like 45 minutes into this movie where he was in New York. You know, you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. You know, he's there. He found it. Oh, and there's another funny moment right here. Because the gorillas are going to march on the humans in the Forbidden Zone because suddenly they know there's been intel. We know there's humans in the Forbidden Zone, and they're going to march on the Forbidden Zone. There's an ape protest. I'm not even kidding. It's like they have signs and stuff like that. It's a bunch of chimpanzees. It looks like this. Yeah, it looks like a typical protest with signs and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. You know, they actually nailed the protest thing down. But we're going to fast forward all the way to where they actually find a little secret passage in Queensboro Station, and they get to where these people are. And they don't find them right away. They're actually traipsing through their little lair, and he's like, I'm so thirsty, and he finds this like bowl of water, and it's green and has trash in it and everything. He's like, moving the trash. He's like, he like sips it and like that. I'm like, yeah, the green water's not good. Oh, surprise, dude. Wow. And then he goes a little bit further and he finds this other little fountain, and it looks pretty water. It's clear, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna sip. Oh, it's good. Nova, come over here and try it. Oh, and then he like suddenly starts like freaking out. He's like, ugh, and he like tries to drown Nova, and he's like, what's going on? And he like runs into a chapel, and there's a dude there, and he's like talking to the guy, but the guy's like his mouth isn't moving. He's like, your mouth isn't moving. And he like leaves. It's like, okay, cool. They're telepaths. Alright. We see this like council of telepaths, and they're all five just sitting there, and you have like they're projecting this screen that's like security cameras. There's no electricity in this place, but they have security cameras. And they're projecting it with their eyes. The only thing I can think is maybe they have someone watching and they're projecting that person's vision. But it's like they got this little TV in their minds, and I'm wondering who controls the remote. Because what if one of them wants to watch a football game while the other one wants to watch Friends? Who's got the Netflix account? It's so stupid. Oh my lord. Oh, but they meet. He actually has to come in front of the council. Brent has to come in front of the council, and the council's not talking. These humans don't say a word. They have like I think something like 3 or 4 lines total, but they're just sitting here doing this. And there's a little ding sound, so it's like ding, ding, and it's like that's supposed to be your cue that they're saying something. Only you can't hear it. Like in every single movie with telepath, there's always like you say like, "What are you doing here?" But you don't see their mouth move, but you still hear what they're saying, but you don't hear it. So I'm thinking this dude could just mess with the audience and the rest of the council. He just like ding. He's like, oh, I will not take off my clothes in a helicopter. That is rude. I did not say that. I didn't say that. Well, no one heard you. You might have said it. I'm just saying, dude. They could have made a whole different movie with this. Oh, so they're interrogating him. What are the apes up to? What are they doing? I don't know. He knows. Don't lie. These are your kind. Why are you protecting the apes? It's like, what do you do? Where are they? What are they doing? Where's Francis? Kind of thing. It's like, no, yeah, it's so weird. And so he's like, I don't know. So we're gonna torture you by making you kill Nova in the weirdest way possible, in a way that's going to kill her, but also get us off. And he like Brent starts aggressively kissing Nova, like while holding onto her throat. So he's like going to kiss her to death. He's like, yeah, come on, man. What is going on? It's just, but he ends up telling him, well, the apes are marching, and it's like, okay, we have already found out now that they have an atomic bomb. They are a cult that worships an atomic bomb, and they know what it is. They know it can destroy things, and of course, later we find out much worse. But first we get a fantastic moment where we have the apes are marching on. They know the apes are coming, so what are they going to do? They're going to do another one of their little mind tricks and do another wall of fire, but this one's going to have a statue of the lawgiver that's bleeding, and it looks like this. Great imagery, and there's a wall of fire, and all the gorillas are like, oh, what do we do? But Zaius, the scientist, is like, man, he's like looking around, this is a fake image, and he just straight up Leroy Jenkins just goes into the fire. Not snorted. He goes into the fire, and the fire dissipates, and he's standing there like a boss. And you're expecting sunglasses to drop, deal with it. It's like, and they just march forward. Oh, I love it. Oh my god, this movie's so bad. It's like a boss. But anyway, we go to church. I'm dead serious. We go to church. Yeah. So yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to breathe. And we find out that this is a big cult thing, and they make Brent and Nova go to church. I'm not even kidding. To church, it looks like this. Like, they have hymnals, and they're singing hymnals, but they're like bomb-centric hymnals. Like, and yay, the bomb exploded and killed all the land. That's like, this is not how you get people to go to church. You don't make them go to church. You ask them, and then when they're bored one day, like, yeah, okay, I'll go to church. And it's like, this is because like, you got to think like from an outsider, you know, this whole singing hymnals in unison is kind of a weird practice, especially when they're about bombs. And it's like, this is, oh man, this is crazy. And they actually take off their skin, and they look like this. They kind of look like veiny penises. Yeah, it's so bad. I've been laughing through this whole episode. This is going to be the worst episode in the history of DC covers. Wow. But they put him in a cell. Taylor's in there. He's like, did you see the model number of the bomb? No, but it had Greek letters on it, Alpha and Omega. It's a doomsday device. It'll blow up the whole world. Yeah, that's gonna happen. And but the bad guy kind of comes in there, and he's like, we are a peaceful race. We don't kill our enemies. We make our enemies kill each other, and then watch for sport because it's entertaining and fun to watch. I made up that last part. All he said was, we make our enemies kill each other. But basically, that's what he's saying. And he makes them has fights. He makes Taylor and Brent has fights. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, Taylor kicks the crap out of him. Like, beats the holy hell out of him. And so, like, the bad guy mutant telepath dude throws him a spike bat, and he's like, yeah, here, you need this because this guy's kicking your ass. And he's like trying to beat him with it, but he ends up Nova comes in and says, Taylor. It's really bad, but he gets, and it distracts the guy just enough time for Taylor to murderize the telepath. Murderizes him. And they escape, but not before the apes bust in, start blasting people with their guns. They kill Nova, shoot her dead. And then we get to the meat and potatoes where we're in there, and there's a missile, the apes versus the mutants. The mutants are setting up the missile to blow up, but he gets killed before he can hit the final button. And then all hell breaks loose. Taylor gets shot. And then Ursus gets killed by Brent. Dead. And then Brent gets shot in the freaking head and then shot 13 more times. He's like, pow! He's gone. But Taylor slowly like creeps to the bomb and everything, and it's like he just presses the button, the screen goes black, and then we get this speech.
In one of the countless billions of galaxies in the universe lies a medium-sized star, and one of its satellites, a green and insignificant planet, is now dead.
The credits roll after that with no music. Like, that's the end. You get the speech and then done. It's like, what? That's the ending? They blew up the Planet of the Apes. And the thing that made it, see, the mutants, whenever they took off their masks, they were supposed to be more grotesque. They were supposed to be completely inside out with muscles and stuff. So they had to cut that, and now they look like penises to get a G rating. And the other part of the G rating, and another thing that, this is Charlton Heston's idea. He's like, what if I just blow up the Planet of the Apes? That way you can't make any more sequels. And they did it, you know? And they had to, but they couldn't show anything to keep the G rating. They just had to do the Flash. And it made for a really bad ending, because you're like, wait, what? That's it? But this movie, I mean, I've been having fun with this episode, and it is a funny movie, and it's entertaining. But this gets a 6.5 out of 10 because it is not good. I would not be surprised if this is bottom rung, like if this is not the worst one, because this is so bad. This is Mystery Science Theater bad. But hey, I digress. I had fun with it. It was a fun little thing to make fun of. So that's it. That's Beneath the Planet of the Apes. Next, we have Escape from the Planet of the Apes. Oh yes. Let me open up my little list here. Let's see. We have Escape from the Planet of the Apes. Now, Escape from the Planet of the Apes is kind of like the exact opposite of all the others. This was in 1971, so it's the very next year. This is like the exact opposite of the first movie, because we have Zira and Cornelius escaping back through the portal, because you know the Taylor and Brent have come through this time portal and arrived at Earth at a different time. Well, they go back through into the 1970s. And this is a 70s movie. We have disco apes, we have suited apes, we have drunk apes, we have pregnant apes, and we have a clothing montage. Whenever you have this, wherever, you know, they're trying on different clothes, and they try on this clothes, and their friend's like, the other one, the last one, yeah, you have one of those. You actually have one of these in this movie. And I actually adore this movie. It's very good. Only 3 apes in total in this whole movie, unless you count the zoo apes and the baby ape, who grows up to be someone. He is Milo in this movie, but he has to have a name change. Ooh, intrigue. So, join me for that. Thank you for watching and for putting up with this entire episode, because I know I did not take anything seriously whatsoever. Sorry about that. But yeah, join me for Escape from the Planet of the Apes.